How to build authority in your brand very quickly. Hey, listen, I don't do fancy, I do real. Yeah, I got a lot of experience and I got a great view. I'm 30 plus fights up, downtown Chicago, great view, all that stuff you can see. But the biggest thing I can build authority with you is telling you what I like and what I don't like, what I believe and what I absolutely believe should not be done with the brand. You should listen to someone who's a real mofo. Be real. Be the person who don't have the fancy videos. I don't have a lot of editing and all this extra fancy graphs and charts. No, I'm just going to tell you, if I was sitting with you with some coffee and we were just talking, okay? And we were just talking about what a brand actually is and what can you do right now to make you some money, more money with whatever you sell. The first thing I'm going to tell you is start opening up your mouth about real stuff, okay? I don't give an H-E-double-L about trying to look like the industry. To heck with that. I'm not like the industry. I'm exceptional. So are you, if you wish to be. If you want to look like everybody else, this is the wrong place for you. The whole idea is, how can you be exceptional? And the way you become exceptional is deep diving into your industry and figuring out what's not going to work. Right now, I'm working on building several different brands. One brand I'm building right now is for gamers to make money the real way with money they control. But I'm calling out elephants in the room like, oh, you know what? Twitch is some bull stuff. You know, TikTok is some bull stuff. It's a game. Don't fall for it. Go hard on YouTube because they'll be the real ones to give you money you can build a reputation off of. So what I'm saying to people offhand is the real raw stuff, and I'm disqualifying stuff. You got to do that in your brand. What can you disqualify? Now, that doesn't mean you always need to bring up names, but I bring up names because these are major companies and I don't like what they're doing. They're great to have streams on and get attention to people, but you ain't gonna make no real money out of that. Some will, a very small group. You should not be depending your rent on Twitch, on TikTok, because they shaky. They shaky. YouTube is more solid. They've been doing it first. They the OGs of giving you creator money called AdSense. The other thing I would say too, in this whole shaking the world, is talking about what works and what doesn't. Can you talk about that in your industry and what you sell? What do you sell that somebody could look at what works and what doesn't? Because if you don't talk about what you like and don't like, you don't win. You don't win. So the whole idea here is that people begin to see you as an authority because not only what you like, but what you're willing to call out. And it's not about calling out to be negative or to put people down or anything. It's calling out to talk about things that don't work. You went through a process. You tried it already. It ain't working. I tried the fancy website and the fancy colors and logo. All it did, it got me a fancy website and fancy colors and logo, y'all. It didn't give me any more sales. People didn't come running at higher conversions, faster rate, repeatedly at higher prices. You know when they started doing that? When I started opening up the mic, just like I'm doing now, and starting talking real to you. When I start talking real to you, it changes the game and the dynamic of where we are at. Because they trust me now that I'm going to say real stuff. I'm going to call out the elephants in the room. I'm going to say, nah, I ain't feeling that. And have a strong opinion of it. Why do you think that anybody from Donald Trump to Stephen A. Smith to Joe Rogan, Rush Limbaugh used to do it back in the day? You have all of these people, big names, that are big names because they have an opinion, whether it be in sports, politics, whether it be in entertainment. People who have a big name in their industry, who have an opinion, wins. And when they're willing to talk about their journey of where they failed and came back, that's when there's authority. I remember a guy broke this down to me, and this is a true story. He passed away from 911, God bless him. He was the concierge for the Hilton right across from World Trade Center. And I remember a couple of years before that horrible event happened, I walked into that hotel and me and a friend were looking for a jazz place to be. We were going to go to the Blue Note around the corner, but the Blue Note was closed. It wasn't happening. So we like, well, where can we get jazz? He said, what kind of jazz? What type of jazz? What are you listening to? What are you into? He really qualified those, his authority with questions. That leads me to the last thing here, questions. Ask people what they want. When people come to me asking me, yeah, man, I want to join your badass emotional branding. Okay, what kind of business are you in? What are you selling? What are your price points? What are you selling at? I mean, the link is in my description and in my homepage and everything, but the idea is if you're coming to me asking questions, I'm like, well, what is it? What is it that you particularly want to do? Is this a fit? I also help liberals make money online, who are really suffering from these Trump cuts. And I help several, particular liberals. I'm like, listen, can you get in front of a camera and talk like I'm doing? No? What about you pointing over here at the wall and just talking? Can you do that? Can you do these simple things? Can you make these simple moves? The reality is, if you're willing to be the person who's calling stuff out and showing the roadmap of the things you went through, you're automatically assumed to be an authority. That's what frustrates people who have long time experience. They come back, they say, Darren, I had a lady from Harvard. I've taught people, I've had clients from all the Ivy League schools in the last 20 years. And they all came with the same question. How is it that soccer mom is beating me in my brand, in my space? Because soccer mom keeps showing up and having an opinion about it. They don't have to be aggressive or be extroverts, but they have to have an opinion. And it could be about anything, basket weaving. It could be about microphones. I have a strong opinion about external drives. I love Toshiba, stick with Toshiba, to heck with everybody else. The rest of them can go to HELL. And I stand behind that after running a business for 20 years independently, because those are the ones that never broke down on me. So what I'm saying to you, and it's coming from the heart, I'm saying this is, have an opinion. Ask questions. Be willing to say you don't like something. All right? That's big, because people will respect that you didn't just say everything's good. Or they also respect you not saying everything's bad. You don't look like a hater, and you don't look like somebody who's a conformist who's sitting there, yeah, it's all good. No, it's not all good. That's how your life is. Share that with them. I guarantee you're going to stand out a whole lot.